Hey everybody, it's Chris from Guilty Words, where we unravel crime one word at a time. Donna Adelson is in prison, where she should be. At her sentencing, she made quite a statement she could not have made had she been sworn in, and so her lawyers were very careful to keep her unsworn. Let's take a look at what she said, why she couldn't be sworn in, and what her goals were with this statement. Donna's lawyers came ready with case law to show why she didn't need to be sworn in for her sentencing statement, and they were correct. Sentencing statements are not evidentiary. The defendant does not have to be sworn in, as they would if they were giving testimony, and as we know, Donna definitely wanted to avoid giving testimony. What are sentencing statements supposed to do? Well, ideally, they give a chance for the convicted to express remorse. They can apologize, ask for leniency, express the regret to the victim's loved ones. Not that we saw any of that from Donna. They can thank their lawyers and the family. The defendant can thank them for supporting them through the trial. Donna did thank the judge for letting her speak, but that was about it. They can offer personal explanations, which is a little bit tricky. But sometimes it can happen. They can explain why they did what they did and how they feel about it now. And the judge can take this into account, which may or may not help them. Now, Donna really did a sentencing statement that was all her own and not traditional, if you will, in any sense, because typical Donna, rules don't apply to her. Donna's sentencing statement can be broken into three rhetorical phases, loosely. The first is empathetic framing, the second is defensive argumentation, and the third is self-victimization and inversion. Empathetic framing is the section about Danny was a fine and decent man, her whole beginning. Defensive argumentation is the whole where is the evidence theme. And self-victimization is how she ended it with there are two crimes here. The purpose of empathetic framing is to soften her image and preempt these accusations of coldness. She gives this graphic emotional imagery. He was being hunted. I can't imagine his terror. To perform empathy, not for Dan's sake, but to build moral cover before she denies her guilt. And this serves as a kind of rhetorical inoculation. If she shows compassion, then she can deny the plausibility of malice. I loved him so much, why would I hurt him? If she were under oath, this preamble would invite scrutiny of sincerity and consistency with her recorded jail calls, where she showed no such empathy. Additionally, she says, my heart was broken when Danny died. The best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share love with the children. This appears empathetic, but functions as linguistic laundering, if you will. It shifts the focus from the murder to her role as a grandmother. And under oath, she would face questions like, if you love them so deeply, why cut contact with the Markells for years? Or did you support Wendy's relocation contrary to court orders? Hence, it had to remain rhetorical, not factual. She couldn't be sworn in, and even though there really isn't cross-examination in a sentencing statement, if she's sworn in, it becomes part of the record and can be accessed and used in appeals. So this whole thing, this whole emotional narration, is a substitute for accountability. In the defensive argumentation portion of her statement, Donna's purpose was to relitigate her trial under the guise of allocution. She directly accuses the state of fabrication. They were trying an innocent person. She asserts juror misconduct. Jurors were sleeping, a biased jury. The court denied a fair trial. She references procedural motions, change of venue, expert testimony, effectively arguing her appeal before sentencing. Now the judge tells her to stop this and this isn't the place. Of course she doesn't listen. What she has to be careful of is perjury and contempt risk if she were under oath. Again, why she wouldn't want to be sworn in. Each of these claims conflicts with the established record, the money drop evidence, the jury voir dire rulings, the magnanimous trial transcripts. Sworn repetition could be prosecuted as false statements about judicial proceedings. In addition, it can affect her credibility in appeals. Mentioning evidence from before Dan's murder is legally meaningless, but under oath, she would be demolished by all the evidence they did show. And last, self-victimization and inversion. Her purpose was to reframe herself as the real victim. There are two crimes here. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. Well, Donna, convicting you is justice, not retribution. If she were under oath, such inversion would equate to asserting factual innocence, and that is completely incompatible with everything that was shown in the trial. And she co-opts the language of victimhood and justice, mirroring Dan's suffering to elicit sympathy and moral equivalence, as if her suffering is just as bad as Dan's. I don't think so, Donna. I don't think so. This is one of the boldest statements I think Donna made. What happened to Danny is unforgivable, but I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. Really? Really? I don't think Dan would be appalled. I think he would be cheering Georgia Cappleman at every turn. Wow. Donna wraps up her self-serving diatribe with what I'm calling her appeal speech. Her final portion, I intend to file an appeal, I swear to you on my life, transforms this allocution into a press release for innocence, not remorse. The swear to you on my life flourish is trying to borrow the moral weight of an oath without incurring its legal consequences. It's manipulation. It also directly contradicts what the judge just said about her utter lack of remorse. And that is actually a legal statement from the judge, because there was a case in Florida where it was ruled a defendant's lack of remorse can be considered in their sentencing. So he was trying to warn her, but she didn't care. And under oath, this would constitute a material falsehood, contradicting the exhibits and the witness evidence, the wiretaps, the money drop, her recorded remarks. She couldn't say this under oath. So one of the main reasons for Donna not to be sworn in was to avoid exposure to perjury, especially during appeals. She could speak freely. She wouldn't face any legal consequences for lying or inaccurate recollections. She could speak emotionally. She could give this emotional testimony without being constrained by the facts. And she could avoid consequences. Whatever she said unsworn can't be held against her in an appeal. Being unsworn also enables her to control the narrative, and if there's one thing we know about Donna Adelson, she loves control. By being unsworn, she has freedom to air her grievances, she can maintain her innocence, and she can play the victim. She avoids any kind of cross-examination and no follow-ups from the judge, although he did interrupt her a few times. By remaining unsworn, Donna can avoid direct responsibility, she can center on her own suffering, she doesn't have to give any apology or explanation, she doesn't have to admit guilt, she can appeal to sympathy and pity, and she can act correctly about Dan's murder. If Donna were sworn in, there are a number of areas where she could have gotten herself into trouble. For example, factual contradictions. She would have exposed herself to perjury when she said things like, "There's no evidence. I was never at my son's house. The jurors were asleep." attacks on the judicial process could have left her open to contempt and obstruction, accusing the jurors and court of bias, for example. Emotional speculation could collapse her credibility. He was hunted, heroically trying to live. How do you know that? Hypotheticals and conditionals leave her open for a cross-examination trap. If I'd have known, I'd have stopped it. And mimicking an actual oath without taking one is self-impeachment. I swear on my life, but not on the court. So what conclusions can we draw about all this? Well, every denial and accusation that Donna made became safe only because she was unsworn. Unsworn words protected her image. Sworn truth would have destroyed it. Unsworn words also protected her lawyers because they knew what she was going to say and they knew she would be lying. And if they had allowed her to be sworn in and get up there and lie, they could have been accused of suborning perjury. Not a good thing for a lawyer. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you the most about Donna's statement. I have another video coming soon about Harvey's. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your time. And we'd love, if you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you join our Guilty Words family. And until I see you in the next video, please use your words wisely and well. Take care.